Hello and welcome to another weekly update. Back in my study for this one. Plenty of interesting things to talk about again this week, even though we're firmly in conference season, so you might expect some kind of information to be held back for Ignite. I think that's probably still happening, and there's other events happening as well. I think there's a Surface event happening October the 2nd, so look out for that as well. There's plenty of rumours flying around about that. But in our space of development, Microsoft Teams, and all that kind of related technology as well, I'm going to kick right off with some really good news about the Microsoft Graph Toolkit. So the Microsoft Graph Toolkit is a set of UI components, and the good news is that as of this week, it is now generally available. It is out of beta. If you are constrained by the types of services and software you can use, if they need to be GA, you can now start using the Graph Toolkit. And you should, if you have any kind of UI that uses data from Graph. So if you've got UI that shows people or calendar items or tasks or anything like that, don't try and reinvent the UI for what a people search looks like or what the people card looks like. Actually, this Graph Toolkit gives you the native experience. It gives you make your application look like every other Office 365 application, and it's so easy. The amount of time you can burn in trying to do something like a people search. I know because I literally did this. I burnt the hours on trying to do a people picker before I knew this was a thing, which is kind of annoying, but there you go. Somebody had to. So I'll link to the blog post. Really good. Really good to see this. I just want to make you know it's available, basically. So right now, you have UI constructs for doing logins, for persons, for person cards, for people, a whole list of people, groups of people, people pickers, agenda items in a calendar, and also for tasks. I don't know if new stuff, if stuff is coming later. The person card, by the way, is new. It wasn't in beta. It wasn't in the public preview. It's new straight into GA. It's a really nice, it's one of those little flyout cards that gives you like a little, the little picture and the name. But then when you mouse over it, it kind of bounces up to give you all the information about the person. So that could be really useful. You could drop that into applications. You could line of business applications where, who's the account manager? Oh, it's this person, but you want the Office 365 information because all you want to do is click and contact them in Teams. Though there are, there's links in there for their numbers, for their email addresses and everything like that. So actually it's a really nice integration point. So that's really good to see. I'm looking forward to using that as well. All right, what's next? So blog post by Anna Chu. She is the community manager at Microsoft, the community manager for Microsoft. Anyway, she is the driving force and voice behind community efforts at Microsoft Ignite this year. And she's put out a really good blog post listing all of the podcasts that are going to be happening at Microsoft Ignite this year. So if you didn't know this, Microsoft Ignite has a number of podcast booths, and they invite podcasts to come and record an episode in the booth at Ignite. And this is very popular. So there is a bit of a submission process. And so there is now 140 podcasts that are going to be taking place at Microsoft Ignite in these designated booths set up for doing recording like this. So that's amazing. That's really cool. The list is not complete, so if you're at Ignite and you have a podcast and you didn't know this was a thing, you can actually still sign up on site as well. So Anna lists out every one of those 140 podcasts with links to all of the ones that are happening. So I think it is worth you looking through this list. And obviously, if there's podcasts you listen to, then you definitely want to make a note of the ones that are happening at Ignite, because you might want to drop in and watch it happening. You might want to take some photos. You might want to see and say hello to the hosts. But also, it's worth looking through the list for interesting new ideas. Broaden your horizons. Have a look through, because these are, the cream of the crop podcasts that have been chosen to be featured at Microsoft Ignite. So they're all going to be pretty good. All right, so what else? blog post I put out this week referencing a article I wrote for my local developers magazine. So the title of the article is "What Does Today's Microsoft Mean for Developers?" So it's kind of aimed at either developers who haven't traditionally been in the Microsoft space, maybe they walked away from Microsoft in the 90s, or maybe people in the Microsoft space who are not developers who are considering how to get into development on Microsoft. So it's like a long form article. The link is to a PDF, which is a proper magazine, so it gets published and stuff. So it's like a print render of the magazine. But you can go through, I think it's page 18, but they're all the articles are worth a read. So start at the beginning, yeah, you can read that. It's a couple of pages long. Just gives my thoughts about what today's Microsoft looks like for developers. And finally, to leave you with one more thing, is I'm going to leave you with a video, which is the Microsoft Teams Developer Community Call. So that happens every month. It's a really good place to catch up everything that's been happening in the Teams development community. I talked about it a few weeks ago. Well, I talked about August's one about a month ago, I guess, where we were talking about Icebreaker Bot and changing the schedules of the Icebreaker Bot. This one, this time around, talks all about design guidelines. So it's with somebody called Michael Forney. He is the principal design manager for Microsoft Teams. So he knows what he's talking about when it comes to doing design with Microsoft Teams. And what he goes through in the call is all the design guidelines that they have and all the design guidelines that you can use to make applications in Teams that look like they belong in Teams. So it's absolutely worth a read and a listen, and a watch. It goes through step by step why it's important to do various things, why it's important not to do various things, and then some really constructive, useful advice on do this, don't do that. Cadences for bots, for instance, how often should your bot reach out to a user? Best practices around flow and tasks. So yeah, really, really good. Definitely worth a read. I think if you're not actively developing anything in Teams right now, it's still worth watching because it gets kind of in your head about good practice. If you are, or you're a product manager, you're a design manager, you're a UI person, absolutely mandatory watching to kind of get that best practice straight out of Microsoft for what they use to make best practice Teams apps. All right, that's everything I wanted to cover this week. I will definitely be doing some more videos this week, but they're going to be Ignite focused. So if that's interesting, go and subscribe to my YouTube channel because you probably won't find out about them right here because I'm going to try and keep this towards the Teams development side of things. But yes, I'm definitely doing at least one, probably two videos coming out this. Oh, maybe even 3 videos coming out this week. We'll have to see. All right, have a great weekend, and I will speak to you again next time.